all of a sudden. So
she's my new best friend. By the way,
hold on.
It takes a bestie to really get me.
Because what happened is I had to pull this one along forever about the podcast, and now she just admitted on live in front of a sold-out AT&T Stadium audience.
You know,
she loves.
Steve gets me. I'm comfortable. I'm happy. The conversation's flowing. I feel, welcome and just comfortable here now.
Good.
Yeah.
All right. Back to the show.
It's like erase that and bypass there for the next.
I'm going to give you a TV character.
Okay.
Alex P. Keaton.
Oh yeah.
Welcome to Stop Whining About Real Estate. Join us as we chat, sip, banter, and wine with the best in the biz. Grab a glass of your favorite vino, sit back, relax, and let's wine together. Welcome back. This is part 2 with Steve Wallace.
No, I've always had, I have a friend named Josh who is like the king of going up to anybody, goes, selfie.
Oh, that's annoying.
And I'm so the opposite.
Okay. You're chill, I can tell. Like you're probably chill, at least to hang out with. Probably in the office, I bet you're pretty intense though.
In the office, I am intense.
Yeah,
complete maniac.
Yeah.
But I was very intense when I played sports too. Okay. So when I'm in the game,
You're locked in. That's what I tell my kid, locked in.
But when I'm at a bar, when I'm out, we're hanging out outside, whatever we're doing, that's not. I'm very chill. But to the point of like, if I see somebody in a restaurant. I'll tell you the one story. The one person I can think of that I went up to in a restaurant was John Henry. Mm-hmm. So being from the Boston area, John Henry being the owner of the Red Sox, I moved down here in 2005 and we had just won in 2004 for the first time.
I'm a Red Sox fan, so I know.
Perfect. And
John Henry used to have his hedge fund where the office where I first moved to Boca. It was the one it's like on Yamato and Dixie. Mm-hmm. And I remember he was just driving. He had a
house in Lilac or something.
Yes, he did. But he had like the Maybach. He was driving like a Maybach, and I was just like, I know who that guy. That's when he owned the Marlins too, before he bought the Red Sox. Yeah.
So I'm living in Meisner Park in one of those apartments above, and I was 26, 27 years old, something like that. And Sean, do you remember the Dubliner? There was an Irish bar.
Yeah.
So I love the Dubliner, and so Sean texted me, and he texted me. He's like, "Hey, just come on over." So I go over there, and he's like, "That's John Henry." And, because they all knew, because so many of the people down here from New York.
Yep.
So right away, we've got this awesome Yankee Red Sox rivalry. Mm-hmm. And back then, both teams were good.
Yeah, I took my kids, actually, another vacation something I wanted to do, and I brought the kids from, I had my birthday last weekend, and we went to Fort Myers to see the spring training. So it's really cool.
Yeah,
I was there, yeah.
It's funny. Adam, so Rob Kofsky, Adam's dad, Adam is one of our loan officers, just sent me pictures literally last night, I think, either last night or 2 nights ago of like 10 years ago or 14 years ago, he and I went to Fort Myers. So pictures of us. And
the kids and I took pictures for the World Series trophies.
That's awesome.
Cool.
So I go up to John Henry and I say to him, and he's having dinner and I have always taken this attitude. I'd love to have all the money in the world. I do not want fame. Mm-hmm. Instead, I decided to host this podcast, and we're ranked right behind Joe Rogan, number 2, number 3, something like that.
You're right behind me.
Yeah. It's so close. But my point is, I would never want the fame. I don't want to go to dinner and have paparazzi doing this and like people bothering you. So I've always felt that do unto others as you want done unto you. Mm-hmm. So for
That's
me,
what we're doing here.
Yes, exactly. That was good. That was a good one, Sarah. See, you too can be funny. I don't care what anyone says. So I go up to him and I say to John, hey, on behalf of the Red Sox Nation, just thank you very much.
I like that.
And that was it. I said, I don't want to disturb you.
And then he spit on you, right? I'm just kidding.
No, but I was saying, like, I didn't ask for a picture or any of that stuff. I just wanted to acknowledge but not bother, so that I was in and out.
Okay, I'm putting my podcast host hat on.
Yeah.
Two questions. I got a question for Sarah.
Oh, boy.
And I got a question for Emmanuel.
Okay.
First question for Emmanuel. Mm-hmm. Favorite Red Sox of all time?
Ooh, Big Papi, easily.
Yeah, I'm a Manny guy, and actually,
I did like Manny too, though. So it's not a knock on Manny.
Got it.
Close second.
And I like Pedro too.
Pedro, Nomar. I mean, so when I was a kid, I remember Dewey, Wade Boggs, Roger Clemens. I'm 46, so it's like we're pretty close in age.
I'm 35.
Okay, yeah.
I just wear it well.
Close. Yeah. Sarah gives me those lies too.
Right.
I get it.
Right.
Who's your,
I don't know
and yours
baseball.
was, who'd you say, Manny?
I have to say Manny because I like Manny being Manny, you know.
Okay. How'd you end up being a Red Sox fan?
My father was a Yankees fan. I grew up in upstate New York. I'm from Syracuse. And we used to be able to get, because we're kind of in the middle of both, we'd get all the Yankee games and all the Red Sox games. And my grandfather hated the Yankees and my dad liked the Yankees. So I went opposite.
Did you go to Syracuse as a
I went to
university?
law school at Syracuse University, yes.
Okay, very cool. I have a few friends who went there.
Yeah. And
not much snow up there, right?
that's why as soon as I was able and self-sufficient, I moved to South Florida. So that was pretty easy. So Sarah.
Yes.
What was your childhood crush?
Oh. Ooh.
You've heard that question before.
I would say probably, so I had a couple,
Okay.
you know, so
TVs were black and white back then, so you got to think it's a little bit different.
Dylan McKay from 90210 was definitely a crush.
Nice.
But I would say the one that
May he rest in peace, Luke Perry.
Yeah, he was top two. I really, really loved Jordan Catalano, which was played by Jared Leto in My So-Called Life.
Interesting. Okay.
I had a very strong love for him.
Okay. And there was the restraining order, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, now he's not really my speed. He's in the band. I love the band. It's 30 Seconds to Mars, I think it is. But Jordan Catalano, the character, was very, but probably Dylan McKay.
Okay.
From 90210.
You kind of spurred another question for both of you.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to start with Emmanuel. What's your go-to shower song?
To listen to or to sing?
No, your go-to shower karaoke song. This tells a lot about a person, by the way.
Yeah. Now I'm trying to think.
So my go-to karaoke song in general is usually been Simple Man.
Okay.
That's so depressing.
Skinnerd.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It's just, I like
so
it.
Maybe we are on the same age, knowing that I know what that song is called.
No, because I know that is. But my parents had really good taste in music.
Well, no, I mean, I sing all sorts of different stuff.
Okay.
I wanted to ask you, because it made me think of when you said show.
Yeah.
Because obviously I don't want to talk about real estate or law. That's my whole purpose of this episode.
I'm very thankful for you.
Talk about, all right.
I could actually, now I understand why you love podcasting, because I could do this all day.
Right.
Wow. All of a sudden. So
she's my new best friend, by the way.
Hold on.
It takes a bestie to really get me.
Because what happened is I had to pull this one along forever about the podcast. And now she just admitted on live in front of a sold out AT&T Stadium audience.
You know,
she loves
Steve
this.
Gets me. I'm comfortable. I'm happy. The conversation's flowing. I feel, welcome and just comfortable here now.
Good.
Yeah.
All right. Back to the show.
It's like erase that and bypass there for the next
I'm going to give you a TV character.
Okay.
Alex P. Keaton.
Oh, yeah. I can kind of, okay.
He was my idol when I was a kid.
Okay.
What show is this?
You know exactly who it is.
No, I actually don't.
That you were
Michael J. Fox.
Yeah.
I was B.A. Baracus in the A-Team.
Too young.
What's that? Your parents wouldn't let you watch it because they were Dems?
But Justine Bateman is on that show, right?
She is, yeah.
There was a while in my life where people told me that I looked like her, which I don't see, but...
Oh, no. If you had dark hair...
No, I see it. If you had dark hair, yeah.
There was I think it was like middle school, early high school, people were like, you ever told you look like the girl from Family Ties? And I was like, I didn't really watch the show.
Right, people say I look like Adam Sandler when he was like... cracked out. No, I'm just kidding.
I was trying to look for it.
Right.
No, I didn't see that one.
So wait, is that the older brother or the younger brother in that show?
It's no brother. It's
Family Ties?
No, I guess there were two. There was another brother. I forgot about that one.
Or am I thinking of the Kirk Cameron show?
No, you're thinking Kirk Cameron.
Yeah. No, but Justine Bateman was in Family Ties.
Kirk Cameron is Growing Pains.
Yes, that I did watch. That's more my...
I like that one too.
That was good.
My generation.
Full House. You probably watched Full House.
Of course I watched Full House. TGIF. You'd have Family Matters, Full House, Step by Step.
Step by Step.
Nope, that's the New Kids on the Block. My first concert.
That doesn't surprise me.
You know what's really cool
Excellent.
though? I recently took my daughter to Taylor Swift.
Oh, wow.
And it was at
And she's asking me for a raise. I should have asked to borrow some money from you.
It was at Hard Rock Stadium or
Yep.
Dolphin Stadium or whatever it's called now. But back in my day, it was Joe Robbie Stadium. And my very first concert was New Kids on the Block at Joe Robbie Stadium, and my mom took me. So skip to
that's
a million
great.
years later, my daughter's first concert was Taylor Swift at the same arena with her mom.
Wow.
Pretty cool.
So
Making memories. I like
Yeah.
that.
that is a good memory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think my mom took me to my first concert, which I think I walked away with a drum stick, whatever they're called.
That's what they're called.
Okay.
Yep.
Just checking. Neville Brothers.
Oh.
Yeah, Aaron Neville. And the Neville Brothers.
Sing a
You know who
song
that
from
is?
them?
You would remember the where I think for us, our age range, where he was most famous was in some commercial about a cloud. I don't,
Ooh, that must have been in the 70s. That wasn't my time.
no. He's like, what is he? I mean, what did he sing? Roy, you're older than us.
Don't make me go to my memory because
Aaron Neville was like the Neville brothers. I'll find something.
Okay.
You'll recognize his voice. He's got a beautiful high pitched voice.
Oh.
He's this gigantic. He's a big black dude, and he's like, he is, and he's got this really soft high voice.
Okay.
I can't. It's not Awake. It's not Dream. I forget what it is. Who's the one concert that probably can't go to anymore because of? It doesn't mean that they're past, but maybe they're just a little older.
Yeah,
that
I mean,
you wish you had gone to.
Oh, that I wish I got to or I went to?
Both. How about?
Okay, I saw Pink Floyd. They were really awesome at the Carrier Dome when I was I think I was in college. The band that I really would have liked to seen, which I don't, it's like impossible probably. They're so old, is Led Zeppelin. I think that would have been an amazing concert to go to.
Did you see, it was an award show and they had a full choir come on and sing a couple of their songs, and they were all in the audience and they were being honored for some Lifetime Achievement Award or something. And the choir that was up there was singing, and all of them were just kind of sitting there, and they're older.
This
and
is like a TikTok video you saw.
No. I saw it.
I've seen it too.
And they all have tears streaming down their face, and you're just like, that's so cool. It might have been Instagram, not TikTok.
Same
I don't
thing.
TikTok.
Same social media. It was some sort of reel, but yes, I've seen that one. It is good.
I think
We have a social media intern now in the office, and it's very interesting. Like, we're sitting down, and so Sarah and I are both Virgos, and Liat, our new intern, is also a Virgo. And so we start going over it, and I'm analyzing, to me, although Virgos don't really have all to do with it. It has to do with, have you ever done like a disc profile test?
Oh yeah, I had to. I've taken that before.
She run, like Sarah, for example, is a high D, high I. She just kind of she makes a decision and runs with it, doesn't think about it, right?
I mean, you make it sound like I'm a Neanderthal. It's the way to be. No, I just I've made the decision, so let's go. Let's move.
It's who you are. It is what it is.
That's the antithesis of me. Because I'm a lawyer, so I make a decision, and then I'm analyzing the argument and the counter argument, and then
You're
the
planner.
ultimate
I'll
consequences.
deal with all that stuff later.
Right. So you're a high S, high C. I am more like that than I am fast to make just a decision. And so same thing. All right, if we're going to go if we're driving from here to here, I'm thinking traffic. I'm thinking what time do we want to arrive? What time do we want to come home? Where are we going to go? What's the best?
We spent so much time thinking about it, we could have just gone.
And fair enough. And, but it's true. It works both ways.
True,
Sometimes you're going to fall flat on your face, and you're going to do it and I'd be like, oh, you can't believe you didn't think of doing that. And at the same time, we might miss out on an opportunity because we sat here, instead of going up to the pretty girl that was sitting all by herself, we sat here waiting and figuring out what's the right
Somebody
thing.
else that was a
what
high
the right
D,
thing
high
to say.
I already took her away.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
who knows?
I mean, that's one of the challenges, and that's why attorneys for the most part aren't great business people because they're always analyzing things, and it's like a paralysis of analysis.
But don't you talk yourself out of everything that way? Over the years, I do talk myself out of things. And sometimes if I'm too impulsive, then I get myself into jams that I have to fight my way out of, Yeah.
But I think being an entrepreneur is a whole different set of skills.
Absolutely.
Like people are like, doctors are amazing.
I think you need all of them.
Doctors are amazing in what they do, but they're
horrible business people.
They're horrible business people.
Oh,
You don't know how many bankruptcies I've done for doctors,
They're
lawyers,
not marketers. They don't like it. It's a whole different segment. The best part that I love about being an entrepreneur and owning a company is that anything that I'm not very good at, because I can't be great at everything, anything I'm not very good at, I want to find that person to fill that void. And that's it. Like, that's how you build a superstar rock star team. If you're using the disc.
Like Lincoln, for example, he built a team of rivals where he basically, whether he agreed with them politically or from a business standpoint, he just wanted the best of the best. And that's always great to have a great team behind you for a great leader like yourself.
Are you trying to get, like, we're talking about Abraham Lincoln?
Abraham Lincoln,
Okay, so now you're throwing me off because Abe, although I believe was technically a Republican back then, that really is what was a Democrat, right?
Right. Correct.
So you're not helping me in terms of if that was a hint. We could have played this game from the get-go. You're going to give me little hints along the way.
Well, no, because
I love the chase.
Actually, the Republican donor, the Republican donor fundraiser is always called the Lincoln Gala. So even though you may think it's one way, it actually, and a lot of the great Republican politicians are always quoting Lincoln.
Fair enough. Just like Trump last night was applauding at Kennedy.
But you
Well,
would
in
think
Kennedy's day, I would have to say that the Democratic Party, which Kennedy was, is much more like the current day Republican Party.
Yeah, take away the personality, but
take away the personality completely, but just kind of the belief system and what it sort of stands for.
Yeah, I'm sure Democrats wouldn't like to say otherwise, but I agree with you.
Yeah.
We actually agree mostly.
We can all agree that we like money, so we know that
that is a fact.
So, needless to say, people call me up and they're concerned about the current administration. I say, well, we're all going to make a lot of money, so.
Only difference is some of us rather earn it. Others would rather like pick it up on the ground and take it from someone else's pocket.
Got it.
You know what I mean?
I like earning it and putting it in my pocket.
Same.
I do too.
I really enjoy that.
A lot of opportunities to earn. I mean, this is what being in business is.
That is true. Absolutely.
Right?
It is true.
But
who chooses the hours of your operation?
I do.
Perfect. So if you wanted to be uber successful, is there any impediment to that?
Are you inferring that I'm not uber successful?
No. That's why Uber. Let's say you're uber successful. Whatever more success than you have. That's all I meant.
Got it.
No, right?
I'm sorry, I didn't.
Is there any impediment to your success?
Well, the one challenge I will. That's a good point that you make. My model is a little different than other attorneys.
Okay.
So, like for example, like I've worked in the past at very large law firms, and on our show we talk about the trials and tribulations of my life, and the one challenge to an attorney's ultimate success is there's only 24 hours in a day, and we bill by the hour for the most part. So, I have the ability where I have creative fee arrangements where I set up flat fees where I know I'm hitting a home run every time for the most part because I value bill. And ultimately, or for example, I'll bill hourly and then I'll take a success ratio on something. The one reason why I enjoy being a real estate lawyer is because I get an hourly rate, and then through title, I also get a commission from the title company for the underwriting. So
many buckets.
Right. Yeah. So I'm a big fan of multiple streams of income.
Is it all?
And I also have ADHD, so I have to have side hustles also. And
I feel that.
Yeah.
Is it all possible in your world to do more of to be compensated more on a project based rather than hour based. The reason I say that is that, so I'd love to see a side by side. So here's the businessman, right? A side by side, because from a scale perspective. So to your point, yes, but you can only bill as many hours as realistic. You know, who audits you? Someone has to audit those hours, no?
The client audits the hours. If I
No, I get it, but like, let's say if you're, I mean, how many? Yeah, fair enough. If I feel
I've seen clients before, people that I know personally, they are very tight with their lawyers and always get big lawyer bills, and they'll get one and it's got everything line itemed, and they're like, this phone call was not this long, or, you know, I had you pull all this documentation and had this sent over, but this really didn't. And they'll call and they'll argue with, you know, the paralegal, whoever's in the office. And usually they want to get the lawyer on the phone, and they'll kind of go back and forth, and then they'll settle on something. So if the client's not auditing it, then, I mean, it is what it is.
Right. I mean, so again, that's a good point. Being that we're business folks, there's a model. Okay, the old school white shoe law firm model, which is, I am going to charge the highest billable hour rate, and I'm going to bill the most amount of hours. The problem is, clients look at the bill and say, this is bullshit.
Yeah.
And so and also the other thing that's going on in our industry is AI. So for example, a lot of very simple tasks theoretically could be done by AI. And and also the fact is, with technology, things are a lot more efficient. So when I first started practicing, I'm 25, but it was when I first moved, when I was a summer associate, people were using these tape recorders and dictating letters and motions and all that stuff. And they would hand it to an assistant that would put headphones on and type it. So now I can speak into a microphone on my computer, it'll do it for me. So technology is the biggest equalizer. And the fact is that these high rent law firms, you know, like downtown West Palm, downtown Fort Lauderdale, downtown Miami, they have to somehow pay all of their expenses. So we're very lean and mean. We have an office. We potentially are hybrid as well. And so I'm able to charge profit-wise, make a lot more than I was when I was working at a large law firm, based on the fact that I don't have all the overhead.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so, you know, I think that the model that where the practice law is going is more of those project-based or success fee models versus hourly rates. That's my opinion. And again, there's certain Fortune 50 companies that will only use those super duper large law firms, because that's just the way it was always done.
Well, it's also so to me, I look at it, my brain is implement. So we use kind of like a doctor, more hospital style billing concept, where you have a medical biller, you have a nurse, you have a radiologist.
No two up front, three in the back, like the good old days.
No. But my point is that you can do the exact same. So if you're the real estate attorney, you're right. I mean, how hard is it to order? You know, a lot of the functions are going to be replaced easily with AI in terms of what you're doing.
Me, because my humor is amazing.
Not just that people pay not for just that. The humor, but the problem solving. Right. There are problems that require our intuition, our experience, all those things. But my point was simply that to grow, if you could always be in a highest and best position where you are never doing any
Sarah and I are going to podcast all day. That's my highest and best position.
Perfect.
Right.
Yeah, you guys are perfect for each other. What's Harvey in Suits? What's his last name? Spectre. That's one of my. He's also one of my favorite characters, by the way. I like that he always solved everything. You know,
he would be an adult crush, but I say that with a lot of caution, because you think that you are him and you're not.
Well, I'm the mortgage version of him.
But you don't really
up.
look alike.
It's not about. Listen, it's about
the attitude, the swagger,
I don't wear a suit every day. Are you kidding me? We're in South Florida.
Yeah.
I feel bad for anyone who has to wear a suit every day. It's hot down here.
It is.
That's a lot.
That's why there's linen.
No, that's a lot. You wear linen to work?
Just joking.
I'm like, sheesh. That's highly effective.
Right.
Well, I'm really excited to join your podcast, by the way. So this is going to be a blast.
You guys going to do it together? That's good.
Yeah, maybe.
Perfect.
Just kidding.
All right. So anything else we should know? Let's wrap this up. Lots of giggles, lots of laughs. Let's talk one final true business real estate piece of advice.
Okay, perfect.
From a wise sage basketball coach.
Well, well then. You've really kind of, you forgot podcast host as well.
Yeah.
Podcast host, dad. There was a lot more adjectives.
Right.
I just didn't want to.
Sports fan.
Genius. How about
Cheesecake Factory lover.
See?
Genius.
I get it.
I think
heard
an
of that.
FBI investigator is in her future.
Stalker, maybe. An FBI
that is true.
investigator. No.
It's called detective,
That's
people.
right. That's right.
Get it
There's
straight.
a fine line between stalking and detecting. So what I would say is it's very important to never sign anything that I write. No, I'm just kidding. That's
You're right, though. Do you know how crazy it is that people? And I'm gonna make fun of myself here in a minute. People sign anything you throw at them. They don't read it.
That is true. So read what I draft, number one.
Okay.
Number two, don't fight attorneys because for the most part, we can be your best friend. So like I see a lot of people that are penny wise and dollar foolish, meaning that people will not want to spend.
Nothing, listen.
I don't know. You just threw me off
Right,
with
so-
that.
That was a scary look. I'm glad that we're friends.
Scary
you know?
sound. Did you
Right.
hear it?
So
There it is again.
It was my mouth.
wow.
Making mouth sounds.
Needless to say,
You're really doing well.
we can edit this out.
Oh my
No,
gosh.
Needless to say, if you spend a couple dollars for having an attorney review a real estate contract, a business contract, you can probably save yourself tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars because, and especially the way that the model is in Florida, especially on the residential side, even to a degree on small commercial deals, because the Florida Board of Realtors has created these forms where real estate agents can fill in the blanks. And the problem is they think that ultimately the blanks are filled in. I don't want to spend all this money for an attorney to review it. And a lot of times if people are buying a primary residence, it's probably the biggest investment that their family will make. And it's worthwhile to spend a couple hundred or even a few $1,000s to review something because the damage that can be done without having a trained set of eyes review it is going to cost so much money. Like I'm going to give you a very short example. So I had, and actually it's interesting because she's actually, this client, after it's been about 12 years, she's calling me now to sell this property. But when she bought the property, her real estate agent said, you don't need an attorney. And she called me up after closing and she's like, I'm getting sick. I have this upper respiratory infection and I think I have mold. And I said, well, why don't you hire an expert and get a mold test done? And it was determined that there was black mold. And
no
then,
seller's disclosure, or it was in the seller's disclosure.
No, there
and
was
it wasn't
that
given her.
I like your thinking, Emmanuel. So
He's
there
very
was-
forward thinking, always.
I like it. There was a seller's disclosure, and there was no disclosure about any type of water. So we filed I did an initial demand on everybody in the chain of the transaction, the home inspector, the real estate agent, the brokerage company, the seller, got the seller's homeowner's insurance policy. And through discovery, we determined that the real estate agent left a voicemail on the seller's voicemail that I'm standing in your bathroom. There's 3 feet of water in here. You need to get somebody to remediate it.
During contract, not so like while they were under contract or prior.
Prior.
So how far? So great. So how'd you do that? You subpoenaed the phone records.
We subpoenaed the phone records.
Okay.
And
I watch law shows. I'm
Right.
into this.
You're very good.
I like
so we subpoenaed the phone records.
You should see me when we talk about
Right.
Navy SEALs.
Okay.
I got your 6.
And
Lawyer Emmanuel.
Right. And so I think I may be out of a job. Not just AI, but Emmanuel's going to put me out of work.
You'll be fine.
So We filed a lawsuit, and it was a pretty easy case. The only downside to it was that the seller's insurance company settled for the limits, but they only had I think it was like $200,000, and the unit was probably about $300,000, and it had about $150,000 worth of damage. So
it's just the net didn't.
It was like after my and this was a situation where I got a contingency. After my contingency, it was about even. So
yeah.
Not for me, but for her. That's when attorneys are human too. We need to eat.
All right, so perfect. So since we brought up NAR, we brought up attorneys. Let's pick on this concept of a class action lawsuit, because what your average individual, and I don't know how attorneys, Stitzer, I think the name is, I don't know what attorneys think of that individual, but I can tell you that 99.99% of everyone else that understands how a class action lawsuit works and where the settlements actually go are all like, this is a joke. Why does this guy get to walk away with all this money? And, at the end of the day, he's not the one that's harmed. So where in the system, and then of course he opens up a real estate company, where in the system does it make sense?
Well, here's one thing that I will tell you, being the attorney that you aspire to be, and my best friend Sarah over here, I want to tell you one thing. The way that the legal system is set up is not for justice. So when I have a client call me up, and the first couple sentences that we discuss, he or she says they want justice, I have to decline representation. The legal system is just set up for people that have knowledge like myself, or people with a lot of money to just basically
find a loophole.
Not just find a loophole, but also just the way civil litigation is set up. It's set up for the people with the money. They prevail because they'll just lawyer you to death and spend as much money until they get you to tap out for submission. And so there's no justice in it. And ultimately, it's just one person, probably a smart attorney, started soliciting everybody that was disgruntled, because oftentimes a lot of these class action law firms, they, especially when we're talking about securities litigation or some type of medical malpractice or products liability, there's ads that are taken out now, even more social media seeking people that have suffered as a result of that. Like, for example, when Bank of America was charging a certain number of overdraft fees, Bank of America got whacked. Now, if you're a plaintiff's lawyer, you're probably thinking to myself, well, I'm achieving justice. And I guess theoretically, you're having corporations that are bad actors correct their practices. But you know who's getting rich? The plaintiff's lawyers.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it is crazy. Look, I'm all for capitalism, so I'm all for finding stuff. I also believe in same thing with the tax, with our tax system. If you're not going to simplify it, then it's everybody's job. There's nothing wrong with taking advantage and finding loopholes. I guess the concept that I find unique is, as we see this, why do we not have changes? I get the first guy gets away with, so I don't want to say murder as in actual murder, but the first guy found the loophole, did something really smart, and made him a fortune. If everybody else over here, all the defense attorneys, I mean, I guess they're making money too. They just didn't make as much.
You ever seen professional wrestling?
Sure.
Okay, so civil litigation is
I was a Hulkamania,
right?
By the way.
Okay, me too. So ultimately,
I'll show you my poses later.
Okay, all right.
Bam.
He has a whole costume in that office.
That's good to know.
I had the
Good.
headband. I was a Hulkamania.
I like
big
that.
time.
I like that.
Yeah.
So civil litigation, for all intents and purposes, is like professional wrestling. The plaintiffs will make a couple moves, and then the defense will make a couple moves, and everybody's making money. Back in the old days, the plaintiff's lawyer would sit at one table, the defense lawyer would sit at the other table, and they would snarl each other and then cut promos. And then as they're walking out, they're hugging each other because thank you for suing each other. That's how we make money.
It's like divorce attorneys,
right? Because the plaintiff's lawyers will get a percentage, and the more that the plaintiff's lawyers fight, the defense lawyers get hourly rates. So it's really such a situation. For example, theoretically, insurance is the biggest scam in the world because the only people that are making money are the lawyers, because the plaintiff's lawyers are getting a piece, the defense lawyers. So really, you think to yourself, well, why do I need insurance? Because anytime I use it, my insurance goes a lot higher. It's just So you're learning a lot about life today, you know?
I like the analogy though. Lawyers are like wrestlers.
Oh.
That's right. And my co-host who wasn't able to be here, I love to cut promos on people. So, you know, that's one thing that I enjoy.
Good.
I love that.
Well, thank you so much for being on the show.
Loved having you.
Yeah, it sounds like you guys are going to do a show, which would be really cool. Can't wait to hear it. And want to know. I'm happy to go on vacation myself if you want to sit in this seat. But no, tell everybody real quick how they can get a hold of you if they're interested in any of your real estate attorney services.
You can find us online at wallacelawflorida.com. You can find us on IG at Wallace Law Florida. You can also find our podcast on Instagram at Attorneys Are Human Too. We are on every platform. We're on, and we have a YouTube channel, Wallace Law. We also are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere you can find us. Attorneys Are Human Too. We are in our 3rd season.
Wow.
And
Congrats.
subscribe, and give us a 5-star review.
Okay, that's enough whining for one day. We are so happy that you could join us today on Stop Whining About Real Estate. So please, not only listen, but subscribe, follow us, download, share, and if you're feeling it, give us a 5-star review. Hey, and if you'd like to be a guest on the show, please email stopwhining@choicemortgage.com. Thanks so much.